What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Disciple Me Now podcast. What week are we in, Nathan?
Dude, I don't even know. It's all blur.
It's just a journey.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about the episode today. I'm also excited about all of our people that have been listening, watching, all of that. Thank you so much. No matter how you're listening, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, we want to say thank you so much. Hope that you can give this a share. Thank you to all who have been. And we got an exciting story as we finish off our series on the discipleship wheel or spiritual growth cycle that we have been talking about.
All right, hit me with it. Give me the story.
Okay, so I kind of, as we were thinking, talking, preparing this, saw something that we're going to talk about within the Gospels with Peter and Jesus.
Okay.
So, as all of us know, when Peter was called, very first time, what does he do? He jumps out of the boat, swims to Jesus, fully committed, right?
Okay.
He hasn't walked with Jesus, hasn't really battled with anything like spiritually or anything that he's faced yet.
Okay. Luke 5,
Yes.
calling of Peter. Okay.
Yes, calling of Peter. He goes through 3 years of life with Jesus,
Okay.
teaching, seeing miracles, the miraculous, all those things. He goes through, like what we talked about last week, some doubts. He denies Jesus,
Okay.
this internal struggle that we're in. Jesus goes back to him. He's on a boat again, okay, in John
Like 22 or something, 21?
yeah.
Okay.
Jesus calls to him. What does Peter do? Jumps out of the boat again, almost the same situation with the same enthusiasm, same passion. And that's where Jesus says, feed my sheep, take care of my lambs, all of those things. What was the difference? There was two different scenarios, but it seems like almost two different experiences, stories. And I think that we, through the Gospels, were able to see Peter walk through this discipleship wheel that we talked about.
Okay.
And the final epitome is what we're about to talk about today, him stepping in, going from spiritual young adult to an actual spiritual adult where Jesus tells him, feed my sheep. Now it's your turn to go and make disciples. Thoughts on that?
No, that's really interesting. Yeah. Because through the Gospels, we see Peter going through times of doubt,
Yes.
times of Jesus displaying and revealing his purpose on earth, and Peter, like, not being about that at some times.
Yeah, and Peter saying dumb stuff or
Yeah.
selfish stuff or like we talked about last week, right here, right now type stuff.
Yeah, he's always like the disciple with his foot in his mouth.
Yeah, but we see that Jesus takes him through this process, and right as Jesus comes back to call him, he steps into this spiritual adult moment where he makes a decision. Okay, now Jesus sees it in him, but now it's time to begin to feed my own sheep or his sheep, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to disciple others the way I have been discipled, which is just
Okay.
kind of interesting.
So Peter, at this moment, what are the marks what are the marks of his life, and what are the things that he's stepping into that would characterize this as this adult stage?
Yeah, I think before the marks of Peter's life was he wanted what was convenient for him.
Okay.
He wanted what was maybe temporary or right here, right now. Even when Jesus says, I am the Christ, I am going to be crucified, Peter pulls Jesus over and says, rebukes him and says, no, this isn't right. And what does Jesus say? Step behind me, Satan. It's like because Peter was acting out of his flesh, out of not being Christ-centered, but being self-centered like we've talked about. So we walk through this. I think that a lot of the things that we've been talking about in the child stage, the infant stage, the young adult stage is what categorized Peter's life. Yet what he's stepping into is Jesus saying, feed my sheep. And I think Jesus even lays out the type of life and death that Peter is going to have to live.
Yeah.
And Peter, although he still says, what about John?
Yeah.
But he accepts it because he's in it now for the long haul, for the strategic vision that Jesus has placed onto him.
Yeah, because in that moment, he lays it out to Peter of like, right now, you get to go wherever you want, do whatever you want to do.
Which is a child, right?
But then he says, as you get older, there will come a time when someone else stretches out your arms and takes you where you don't want to go. Something to that effect. Basically, laying it out plain and simple for that Peter would understand that Peter was going to be crucified.
Yeah. Which is, what is a disciple really? Dying to ourselves, dying to our flesh. And this is just a physical picture of what it should look like in our lives when it comes to our spirit, when it comes to our flesh, when it comes to our ego, when it comes to sin, when it comes to the world. Really dying to ourselves. Even in our notes, like, what does a spiritual adult look like? Man, Jesus is at the center of every aspect of our lives, and everything else is dead.
Yeah.
Our ego, our pride, our desire to be famous or known, even the right here, right now mentality, it's all just dead. And I believe that when Jesus asked Peter, we weren't even expecting to go in this direction, but like when Peter asked Jesus asked Peter, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? I think it's in that moment where he's being broken and all those things are having to be decided. Am I going to let these things die so that I can fully be a spiritual adult, a disciple of Christ?
So. I like that because so when we're thinking about the journey of spiritual growth, it really is a progress of becoming more and more like Jesus.
Yeah.
And when we honestly think about who Jesus was, he was much more than someone who said great things and taught awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But Jesus was someone who sacrificed of his own life for the lives of other people.
Yeah.
Yes, on the cross, but also throughout all of his ministry, the people that he went to and the people he ministered to, he was constantly humbling and sacrificing himself, giving up his own life for the sake of other people. And really, when you're looking at a spiritual adult, you're looking at someone who is doing that daily, laying down their own life for other people. Yeah. Some of the other things I was thinking about when I was thinking about spiritual adult is someone who has the ability to forgive other people even when those people don't even ask to be forgiven.
Yeah,
but you wrong someone and you go out of your way to forgive them.
Yeah, that's good.
Or someone who is able to support and honor their local church even when their church does something to disappoint them.
Yeah.
So when their church isn't doing everything exactly how they want to, like, are you still able to support them, get behind them, help them, and honor the people, the pastors who are in leadership over you?
That's so good. I think some other characteristics, we've been saying this, but like, are they committed to the long haul, not the here and now, not what is convenient or easy or satisfying, but the long haul of their lives, of other people's lives, but also for the kingdom? Are they committed to the long haul? And I love what we were talking about beforehand, and I think that it's one of the pictures of the story about Peter, that being a child and being a spiritual adult can actually look similar at some points because they're both so committed.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, can you share your thoughts on that, Nathan?
Yeah. So,
how is that even possible?
I think this definitely comes out in your story of Peter jumping off the boat. I think that's a perfect example. Because a person who's a spiritual child is committed and invested, but they are doing so because they haven't faced their doubts and their questions yet.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They've just received forgiveness and they're all about it.
Yeah.
But someone who's a spiritual adult has wrestled through those doubts, has wrestled through the questions, and because they've come out the other side of it, that's why they have so much commitment. Because they've faced those things, and whether or not they've found answers to those questions, they've walked through that time of difficulty, and they've chosen to serve God in the midst of all of it.
They've still chosen to walk with him, serve him.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest difference between a spiritual adult, spiritual child, or anything else. They've gone through doubts, frustrations, questions, difficulty, whatever it is, yet whether it hasn't been answered or hasn't been answered the way they wanted it to be or whatever, they still chose Jesus.
Yeah.
So I've heard it like this, every leader, but I think you could say every disciple that makes it to the spiritual adult stage kind of walks with a limp.
Okay.
Has gone through
like
some,
Jacob.
Right, with his hip and everything, has wrestled with God, has questioned God, has had some really honest conversations with God. And I think, not that we wish bad things on people or anything like that, but if there's a disciple who's claiming that, man, I'm a spiritual adult, I'm whatever, but they haven't gone through those things, man, it causes some pause at least to say, okay, where are you really? Because that's going to happen. And I think the way we choose to respond to those things is one of the things that grows us into being ready and with the perspective that a spiritual adult has.
Yeah. So if you're discipling someone, that's a good thing for them to go through a period of doubting and questioning, because helping them get to the other side of that really helps them grow.
Yeah. And it can be scary. Sorry.
No, you're good. Go for it.
I was just going to say, it can be scary as the discipler.
Yeah.
When they're doubting or struggling. I mean, think about it. I mean, it wasn't just, I don't think it was just hurtful to Jesus that Peter denied him. Obviously it was, but I think it was also concerning.
Yeah.
Like, is he going to walk away forever?
Yeah.
Is he never going to come back? And I think as the discipler, it can be scary when our disciple is asking these questions, or, man, I don't know if I even believe this, or I don't even know if God is good, or whatever it is. But if we're able to walk with them, it can be scary to us, like, oh my gosh, we just need to, but if we can get them kind of through that and still trusting him, they're more ready to be that spiritual adult that we want them to be.
It's easy to think that those questions mean that you're doing something wrong as a discipler.
That's good.
And you're really not.
Yeah.
Some of the other things I was thinking about is, if you're in this spiritual adult stage, some of the phrases you might say are, we get to baptize someone from our small group tonight. When's the next foundations class?
Yeah.
So like you said, they're about the end game. They're thinking ahead to, like, I'm excited to see this person get baptized and grow in their faith. Like, what's 2 steps down the line that I can help line up for them so that my disciple is continuing to move down the path?
I mean, I even think, like, you're really good at this, Nathan. There's other leaders in our context that are, but just give you a shout out. But like, you're literally like writing notes to your disciples that you haven't given to them yet, that you'll give to them when they graduate or whenever you plan on doing that. But like, that's how a spiritual parent or a spiritual adult thinks, right? Not here and now, but man, I might not be able to do this or give this to them for a year, but I know when I do, it's going to send them off into college with something that hopefully can protect and grow and push their faith. So
yeah, and I like how you said, spiritual parent there, right? Because some people call this stage abide in me, which I think that's great, but I think that only gets at half of it.
Yeah.
I like to call this go and be, or go and do. Go and be is great because you got that be sense of still just being with Christ, but also this go sense in which you're not just close to Jesus for you, but you're close to Jesus in order to parent and bring along other people.
Yeah. I love go and be, if we can think of it that way, because a spiritual parent or a spiritual adult is their doing comes from their being.
Yeah, okay.
Comes from them being with Jesus, comes from them knowing who they are in him. A lot of spiritual children, infants, and even young adults, their doing is maybe to get closer to Jesus or to know him more, where a spiritual adult understands, no, I know him, I am with him, I'm in him, therefore I'm about the end goal. I want to reach people. I want to touch other people's lives. I want to give to the poor, whatever it is. But all of it comes from them being. Jesus is letting them go, but they're still remaining in him, and everything else flows from there. I think that's one of the biggest differences.
And I would even say to the point that as the spiritual growth stages, it's not just a linear direction, but you can actually go back and forth, and it can be a cycle to the point where if you have a season in your life that you're not discipling other people and parenting them, like, are you even in this spiritual adult stage? You know, have you gone back to the young adult stage, which is, it's okay. Like, I think myself and every Christian I know goes through cycles of different phases of ministry, different phases of your relationship with Jesus. But if you're in the spiritual adult stage, then you really should make that effort to not just be an adult for your sake, but to be a parent for other people's sake.
Yeah. So our audience hopefully is people that are discipling people.
Yeah.
And making disciples. So the biggest, I guess, difference or a goal, right? I should say a pathway. We've been using that word for somebody who's kind of on the line or at this stage. Maybe you've done an incredible job and your disciple is here. What can we do? What's the next step for us? Because sometimes it can be hard letting go when our lives have been connected to this one person for a long time, or these two people for a long time. What's the next step? What's the pathway? What's the path?
Okay, let me give you three things. Yeah. First thing is, as they're entering this stage, to be explaining the discipleship process to them so that they know and they're thinking about other people, how to help these other people grow. And then as your disciple is understanding this discipleship process, release them to disciple someone else with your help. Okay. Hold in their hand, figuratively, by their side. And
let them ask you questions.
Yeah.
Hey, this isn't going well. Or, hey, how'd you deal with this? Okay.
Yeah. And then release them to disciple someone else without your help. And let them just go for it. Show them that you fully trust them and they got this. So all about that, the idea is releasing them to be a disciple maker on their own.
So it's kind of like you're a spiritual parent. You're hopefully, if you're doing it right, your kids shouldn't be living with you until they're 30.
Yeah.
So we need to release them, like you said, but we're always going to be there for them to come back to, for them to, come home for the holidays type thing, to ask questions, to be like, yo, how are you doing?
Like, I'm calling up my dad because I don't understand electrical, or I don't understand how to fix my garbage disposal, but I don't live with them anymore.
Yeah.
And so you can still have that relationship with them, even though they're discipling someone else.
And if it's okay for me to say, it's also okay for the disciple maker, or not just okay, you should start discipling somebody else now, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you? It's sometimes can be hard and painful to like start. You're like, oh man, I was starting this process over. Like, even for me as a youth pastor, I've been here 8 years now. It's hard to kind of get up and go for another group or for another person or for another individual. But it's not about us. If we are at this stage, we're called to this.
Yeah.
So it is time for us to release them, to still be there for them, but for us to not make sure that we've made it, we're dusting off our hands. But no, we still have more disciples to make, and we need to make sure that our heart is in that place still and not thinking, well, we've arrived, we're good, we're cool, we've already sent somebody out. But no, let's send out another one, let's do another one, let's do another one.
Yeah, the last thing that I will say for this, alongside that point, is just because you yourself are at the spiritual adult stage or spiritual parent stage.
Say that, Nathan. Say that. I already know.
It doesn't mean that you've arrived.
Yes.
Okay? You're not done. And in the sense of you're not done growing. Like, you can still have someone else disciple you, even though you're far along in your own journey, even though that you are close to Christ, you've discipled a bunch of people. You can still find someone else who has something to teach you.
Yep.
Even if you're the same age as them, even if you're older than them, continue looking for someone else who has a certain aspect of their relationship with Christ that you can learn from and grow from, and seek how to let them disciple you.
Yeah. And hopefully most spiritual adults know that and feel that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we haven't arrived. Like, this is that, because that's one of the marks, I think, of
Yeah.
not being self-centeredness. So
Humility.
So we have to be a disciple maker, we have to have humility. So any closing last thoughts before we switch up to our last segment?
No, I think that's good. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
So keep sharpening each other.
I'll say this just as a closing thought, man. If you are at this place with your disciple, you killed it. Awesome
Yeah.
job. Congrats. But now it's time to release them. And now your ministry and your sowing is being multiplied to somebody else. And that's what it's all about. That's what Jesus did. So good job. We're proud of you.
Amen.
We want you to know that. And, man, so that's what the goal is. We're about to switch to another fun segment that I think that we're really going to like. You can follow along with us. We're going to read out the questions out loud. We are going to play against each other Bible trivia. The questions will be up on the screen.
We're going to do one quote unquote easy,
Yeah.
one medium,
Yeah.
and one hard.
Yeah,
Now,
I don't know.
I'm kind of
That's all
nervous.
relative.
I
It's
might,
all-
yeah, so relative because I might fail this easy one, but get the hard one. Who knows?
Yeah, it's all relative. Apparently, from what I heard, Nathan has super hard questions for me.
Oh, no.
And I'm about to go 3 for 3 on this. So we're going to start. Answer along with us, okay? And we might even post them on our Instagram, see who gets them and who doesn't. Anyway, I'll start. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. This is super easy.
Okay.
Matthew was a
Tax collector.
ding, ding,
Oh my
ding.
gosh, now I feel bad. This is going to be too hard of a first question.
I told y'all. Come on.
I ran this by Hyman. He said up it a little bit.
Come on.
Okay, I'll give you a warning. How about that? This one has a little bit of a trick to it. Okay, when Jesus fed the 4,000 people, I'll say that again.
Yeah.
When Jesus fed the 4,000 people, plus women and children, how many fish and loaves of bread did he have?
I think 2 fish, 7 loaves.
Oh, that was really good. Okay.
Was I right?
So I
know it's 7
I don't
loaves.
remember which gospel I read this from. Let's see. I don't know. It's not open on my phone anymore. So when he fed 5,000 people, which is a different story.
Yeah.
5 loaves, 2 fish.
Right.
This story, he did have 7 loaves. It said a few fish. So 2, I'll take
Ding,
it.
ding, ding.
Yo,
Ding, ding, ding.
nice job. Okay.
Yes! I told you I'm going 3 for 3 today. All right, here's the second one. You ready? Hold on. Okay. What is the shortest book in the New Testament?
In the New Testament. I'm going to go, I'm a little bit nervous now because I'm trying to think back and forth between Philemon and like 3rd John, maybe? Oh, man.
Woo! Tell
I
us
like
what you
Philemon because I thought, so Philemon is so short that I chose to do that as a Bible study in high school because I thought this book is so short, it'll be easy, we'll get through it. But instead, I'm going to go with 3rd John.
think. Bro.
Did I get that wrong?
2nd John.
2nd John. Oh. I just assumed that they
close.
got shorter and shorter as you went,
he's
you know.
like getting tired.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay, this
So wait,
one's kind of hard.
It's 1-1 still right
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Which wood was used by Noah to build the ark?
Really?
Come on, man. You don't know your wood?
Okay.
Your trees?
Acacia wood.
Oh, no.
Wait,
Good guess, though.
mahogany.
It was gopher.
Oh, what?
Acacia is a good guess.
Okay. Yeah. All right. It's 1-1. Here's yours. The southern kingdom eventually fell to which great power?
So it's going to be either Babylon or Assyria. I'm really wanting to
picked
say
2 easy
Babylon, but you said
questions.
Southern Kingdom, and so I feel like that happened later in history. So I'm going to go with Assyria. No, was it Babylon? Dang it!
All right. This is for the win.
All right.
This is for the win.
This is hard. This is
All
my
right.
hard one.
Oh, this is your hard one, not the gopher wood. Okay.
Okay. During Paul's 3rd missionary journey, roughly for how long did he minister in the school of Tyrannus at Ephesus? How long was he in Ephesus, Ephesians? I'll give you a hint. You ready?
Uh-huh.
You ready? It's somewhere between 6 months and 5 years.
I'm gonna say a year and a half.
You're really close. 2 years.
Oh, we tied.
Yeah,
we did
good
it.
game.
Good game. Good game.
I mean, we both just went 1 of 3 for Bible questions.
That's terrible.
That's not great for our podcast,
these are
but
very, very hard questions.
Yeah,
though.
they
We're
were.
gonna put them on our Instagram and see how you do.
Hey, there you go.
We'll do it before the show so that you don't have any you can't cheat. So
Yeah.
anyway, hey, that's all that we have today. Hope that you have enjoyed it again. Thank you for coming on this journey. If you have shared this or told somebody about it, it means so much to us. We want you to know that. Continue to share it. Continue to tell people about it. Hit the bell if you haven't for notifications. Subscribe if you haven't on whatever platform you are listening to. We come out with a new episode every Sunday at 1 p.m. And come and join the club. Be with us. We'll see you next Sunday at that time.
See ya. Thanks, guys.